Here's why you need to go all in on this strategy for 2026 in your coaching business. And my about $275,000 bet in real money that I'm putting into this, what I'm going to explain to you. So let's recap here. So far this year, here's what's gone on in the coaching space. A lot of coaches haven't quite understood. They may see the effects of it, but they're not understanding the cause. So they're fixing the symptoms versus the cause of all kinds of problems. The first thing is nobody trusts coaches anymore. Everybody's been burned now. If you're a life coach, health coach, mindset coach, that spiritual coach, you've probably noticed you're getting a lot more people coming your way who have already been through coaching programs of some capacity. They don't trust anybody. They were let down. The next thing that's happening, just as a quick recap, there's really 6 things. Facebook's ad targeting is gone. You can't target little interest groups anymore of follow and all that kind of stuff, like followers of Tony Robbins and stuff like that. You can't do that. It's all gone. So if you're want to run Facebook ads or Instagram ads, the targeting is all gone. The third thing that's been happening in 2025 is organic reach is dead. So what that means is if you have 1,000 followers on Facebook, for example, or Instagram, whatever, or LinkedIn, your average post is going to reach about 2 or 3% of those followers. Okay. And it's continuing to go down because there's more and more content flooding organic due to, well, ChatGPT content, right? Which brings us to the next point is ChatGPT and YouTube are replacing coaches, right? Right now, there's 2.6 billion searches, queries a day using ChatGPT, and I'm convinced 2 billion of those are coaches trying to create free lead magnets to give people and stuff like that, or getting their coaching programs created, which is not good. There's 700,000 to 800,000 hours of content uploaded every day on YouTube. So the combination of those two is wiping coaches out, and we're seeing it like never before. The two final things is instant coaches are flooding the market. We're seeing newbie people all the time who are like business opportunity type people who hate their life, and they're like, I know I'm going to make an extra 100,000 a year as a mindset coach. I love reading mindset books. They go on ChatGPT and they create a course and posts and everything and a coaching program, and they're flooding the internet with these, I call them instant coaches, right? And the problem is your ideal client can't tell the difference because everything sort of looks the same, and so it's eroding your ideal clients, and you're getting less clients from that. And the final thing you got to remember is you need to use ads going forward. Period. End of discussion. You can't get through the noise. Now, I want to give you some hope here, okay? If you feel like you're always late to the party, you hear stock tip from a friend and you buy it the day before it crashes, or you bought your house the day before the 2007 or 8 market crash, and every time you buy something goes bad. I'm telling you right now, you're in the right place at the right time if you have the right strategy. Because here's the problem. When you start online, you can't see what's going on. I love to give this analogy. So we, about 2 years ago, when we moved to Vegas, we rented a place to see if we wanted to live here and stay. And we moved from Canada, Calgary, Banff, Lake Louise area. And so we moved and we're like, okay, we'd like to stay. And so what happened is we bought a house. And right, when you buy a house, you get the ability to see what the area is doing, right? So we would go through areas and you can tell, is this area getting better? Is this area stable? Or is this area getting worse? And you can go in and you'd be like, wow, I can see why that house is super cheap. This area is a disaster. It's going downhill. And you can kind of visually see that. Here's the problem. When you start out coaching and when you're online, you can't see what's coming or what has happened, and you can't tell what's going on. So coaches will jump on strategies like, get people into a Facebook group and build a relationship, get them to buy. And they won't know that strategy worked like 8 years ago, and it's just been going downhill ever since. Or LinkedIn, DMing people on LinkedIn, and let's have a 15-minute chat, see how we can help each other. I stopped doing that in 2019. You know what I mean? And so you got to understand is that you sometimes have to fail your way to success and try a few things to see what works. So here's the magic 3 you need to go all in on for 2026 if you want to add another 10, 20, 50, 100 grand a month to your coaching business. All right. Now hit the subscribe button somewhere around here on this YouTube video. I create tons of YouTube videos on what we're doing. We've spent millions upon millions on ads and over the years, and we have a ton of clients. I know what's going on all different segments of the industry, and we're literally on the cutting edge of what's happening. And I love to share a lot of our stuff here for free. And if you hit the subscribe, you'll be notified and see the videos. All right. So the first thing that you got to go all in on this year, if you want to really hit record months in your coaching businesses, you need to realize that messaging is the new targeting on ads. Okay. Messaging is the new targeting. Targeting is gone. Facebook's removed it. And that's a really good thing. We're seeing better results than ever before because now we can use messaging to be the targeting versus those little interest groups like followers of Tony Robbins and stuff like that. And this allows us to hyper target wealthy people, qualified people, all that kind of stuff. Because what happens is when Facebook sees your ad and it's targeting, let's say you're a health coach and you're targeting 6-figure earning working moms who are 45 plus, working 50 hours a week, who make, like I said, 150 grand a year. Well, when we put those out there, now when those people click and register and stuff like that, Facebook uses a very powerful feedback loop and goes back in and finds more of those people like that. And it's actually getting better quality than ever before. So you need to realize, number one, you better be using ads because you can't get through the noise. Like, good luck making 1,000 a month, let alone 10, 20,000 a month without ads. But the best news is your messaging is now the new targeting. So you've got to go all in on your messaging because the coaches who know how to do this right now are seeing better results than ever before. Last month, our cost to acquire a client was the lowest it's been since 2014. Okay. So you need to go all in on that. Number two, you need to realize that demonstrating before selling has replaced sales funnels. You need to understand that your trust right now with your ideal client is a -10. Remember, they've tried other health coaches and mindset coaches. Even if you got to understand, people are very weird in what they define as a coaching program. They might have joined a free Facebook group that had weekly coaching calls and it was a disaster. And then they'll get on a call with you and they'll be like, oh yeah, I did this health coaching thing with this coach named Sally and it really sucked and I felt there was no value. And you're like, oh no, really? Oh, that's horrible. And then you ask them about it and it was free. You're like, well, you didn't even pay for this. You just got some free advice. And so people are just, they're labeling everybody as, oh, that didn't work. Oh, I tried that. And so you're seeing this coming in. And so what's happening is your trust is at an all-time low. So we have to demonstrate before we sell. And let me explain that. We do that through an ecosystem because funnels are not working anymore because your ideal clients who are qualified and have money hate funnels. Okay. Here's what also they hate. Facebook groups, okay? Facebook groups have zero value. Your reach is a disaster. If you got 1,000 people in a Facebook group, you might get 10 who might see your average post. So here's the cool thing. Demonstrating before selling is this. You are what your ideal client is buying going into 2026. And what we need to do is we need to use an ecosystem instead of a funnel. So we get them into some short form content. We get them into certain automated webinar type stuff, get high engagement, getting them to consume your stuff, and then out of the consumption and certain long form content, we automate this whole process and boom, they start booking calls, but they're not sales calls, they're enrollment calls, okay? Because sales calls are no longer working. Because here's what was happening in a lot of certification programs and stuff like that coaches are taking is they use these sales scripts or whatever that they're teaching them, and that's where they build trust. You have to do it now in the ecosystem because they need to be on the call to buy because quite frankly, coaches hate doing sales calls, right? You didn't become a coach to do sales calls, did you? You became a coach to do an enrollment call. And so we need the ecosystem to build that to demonstrate how awesome you are before they book a call. So when they book a call, it's a logistics call. How much is it? When do we start? What did we do? When are the calls? That kind of thing. And then you can work it out like that because you got to remember they are buying you. Also, when you do this, it creates a feedback loop back into Facebook and it gets more people who are qualified and drives more people who are, who the people you want. And that's how we get better buyers because the people coming off Facebook who engage in the ecosystem, Facebook pixels that and goes and finds more of those people. Now, the third thing is the most important thing, okay? You need to plug the leaks. This is the big three that I'm talking about this year that coaches have to do, the magic three. You need to plug the leaks in your sales funnels and stop using a spaghetti strainer coaching business. You know what a spaghetti strainer is, right? You put your spaghetti in, water goes through and comes out the other side. Here's the secret. The secret into 2025 and 2026 going into there is lead efficiency versus lead volume. You can see from my stuff, like at the time of this recording, I have 600 something people who follow me, subscribe on YouTube. I only have about 2,200 subscribers on people connected in Skool. Instagram, about 1,100 followers and stuff like that. So my followings are not big because I focus on lead efficiency versus lead volume. And that's how I'm able to have made, literally millions and well over 10 million over the long term, but definitely somewhere around 7 figures a year through lead efficiency, not lead volume. You don't need more people. You need better quality people. And we have to fix the spaghetti strainer. Now, let me explain the spaghetti strainer, okay? Here's what's happening in the spaghetti strainer coaching business, all right? 80% of the people who hit your registration page for whatever it is are not going to give you an email address. Then 90% of the people who give you an email address are never going to book a call. Then if you're doing it the way most people are doing it, 50% of those are going to no-show. So it's so inefficient that you're just losing everybody all the way through. Also, the people who are on your emails, email deliverability is really low right now. And so email's great, you own email and all that kind of stuff, but email deliverability keeps dropping. These email service providers keep sending it to spam and junk, and they keep organizing it for you. And here's the problem. At least half your coaching clients are going to come after 30 days because you got to remember, there's some people, let me give you an example of the last number of things I bought. And I spent a ton of money on coaching, right? And one of the things I bought, I seen this person and I loved what they had. I'm like, I got to buy that. And I reached out, DM'd them. I'm like, what do I do? And got me on a call, gave him my credit card. And it was like, I don't know, $8,000-10,000. Boom. Right. Like that. Another one, I was following this person for almost a year. And then finally I'm like, geez, I should really buy this. And it was like $24,000. I'm like, okay, I didn't even do a call. I'm just like, oh, what do I do? 24 grand. So it's one example of I bought something right away from somebody and then something that took a year. And then another thing I bought was about 18,000 a little while ago. It was like 3 days. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I need to do that. And then 3 days later I bought. And you got to understand, you're getting a lot of that within your coaching business, but the model right now is designed to get people to buy now, meaning they see you on a Monday, they book a call on a Tuesday, they buy on a Wednesday. And if they don't, you've no way to get all these other people. So if that's all you have and all you have is email and a Facebook group to follow up with them, you are completely, it hits the law of diminishing returns. So how do we fix this? You got to understand, it's like the dating process, right? Like it takes time to do it right. When I was a pastor for a number of years up in Canada, I did a lot of weddings, right? A ton of them. And the people I always worried about, I was like, who did premarital counseling with, were these ones who, they met in midlife, usually both divorced, and they met and like a month later they're engaged. And they're like, hey, can you do our wedding? And I'm like, you guys just met a month ago. And those were always the worst situations, like 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road, right? It was a complete disaster because it was too quick. And sometimes there's love at first sight and it all works out, but a lot of times it doesn't. And so very few people, if you're like, somebody said, hey, we connect really well. I want 5 kids. You want kids. Let's just get this thing over with and get married. You'd be like, that's kind of creepy, right? I don't, I need a little bit of time. And this is happening with buyers right now, is that some people just need a little more time because they've been screwed over. They have low confidence and stuff like that. So we have to get rid of your spaghetti strainer coaching business. And the way we do this is we use this thing called mini celebrity status ads. And here's the thing. What we do is we get people at every place. So if somebody clicks on your ad, doesn't give you an email address, boom, we have a special ad that goes out to them and gets them into your system, builds trust, gives them certain types of content to shift their belief system. People register for your stuff, don't book a call, no worries. Boom, out comes these certain types of ads, shifting their beliefs, building trust, getting to see you as the only option. And why do we call them mini celebrity status? Because it's increasing their status, because people buy from people they trust, right? I see this all the time. My wife, I've been with, she's my first girlfriend. I've been with her since 16. Well, we're 47. We've been married 25 years. She'll tell me something and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. And then like some expert will tell me the same thing. And I'm like, oh, this person just told me I have to do this. She's like, well, I've been telling you that for like 5 years. I'm like, right? And it's all of a sudden like this expert says something who I trust and then I believe him, right? And my wife's always right and I should have listened to her, and I've learned. It just takes me a while. And so that's the same thing that's happening in your market is you might be saying the right thing, but they don't trust you enough. And so we hook in these little mini celebrity status ads. It increases your status. It tightens up this spaghetti strainer coaching business so that the efficiency gets better, and we're shifting people's belief systems so that by the time they're 2, 3, 4 weeks in or 2 months in, they're finally ready to buy. And they're like, oh my gosh, you have said all the right things and blah, blah, blah. And I trust you. Boom, they buy. Okay. And so these are the 3 things you have to do. All right. You got to understand this simple. It's as dead simple, but it's deceptively simple. And so what's going to happen here is that you can either do what was working and double down on it because you bought into a system, you tried something, it's not working well, or step out in faith and actually do the thing you don't even know, and start implementing what's going to work in the future. Because everything I explained to you follows human psychology of where the coaching industry is going versus all this stuff of where it's been. And I want to tell you a sad story. So I have over time, I've worked with 1,200-1,400 coaches. I've had a number of people who book calls with us and didn't buy, right? Didn't want to buy our coaching. And guess what happened? 60 times now, at least 60 times, people have reached back out to us and forgot they ever talked to us. Okay. So they booked a call, didn't want to work with us, and then forgot about us, saw our stuff again. 60 plus times now. They reached back out, told us about their situation, and we didn't know. And then we look it up on our database, and they had previously reached out to us. Guess what? Almost 100% of the time, I would say 98% of those, of the people who've done that, their situation's worse. It's not because they didn't work with me. Okay, you know what it's from? It's because they left those calls and were so invested into something and so emotionally connected to something that they just doubled down on what wasn't working because they were just invested in it. And guess what? It took them out and their situations never improved. I've seen that 60 times, okay? And so what I want to tell you today is you might have had a tough time in 2025, but the secret to those next 10, 20, 50, $100,000 months is doing what I've explained to you to do, because that's where the money's going to be. These are the 3 things that are going to happen. And we call it our mini celebrity status ads ecosystem. And so here's what I want to do. We want to give you a free call to help you actually implement this because you're in our free Skool community. If you're not in our free Skool community, there's a link in the description to sign up. But if you are in our free Skool community, book your call. It's a 15-minute call and there's nothing to buy. What we're going to do is we're going to help map out all 3 of these things for you so that you can learn how to do them, how to get your messaging so that you're seen as the only option, so that you can start reaching hopefully some of those 18 million millionaires in America and get the right people, because the targeting's gone. It's a different way. Number 2, how can you demonstrate before selling at scale with the ecosystem so they see you as the only option and they want to buy from you and want to work with you? And then number 3, how to plug all those leaks in your sales funnel so you don't have to have a spaghetti strainer coaching business because it's too inefficient. And we're going to map it out, give you some ideas and strategies. It's all free because you're in a free Skool community, and it's a 15-minute call. Plus, we're going to unlock some trainings for you that are normally only available for our clients. Okay. Now, why is it so important you do this call? Here's why. Because if you keep repeating what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the results that you've been getting. Okay. This isn't about tactics. All right. This isn't about, I just got to, have a live webinar. I just need a $27 course. I just got to hire somebody off Upwork or Fiverr to do my ads. I just got to get my virtual assistant from the Philippines to watch more videos and figure this out. This is about the strategy, okay? Because if we don't fix this strategy, all these little tactical things are going to come back to get you again and again and again and again. So if you didn't have a record month this month, take the 15 minutes, book the call. We're going to share with you what's working. We're going to help you, because the worst thing that you can do, this is a very lonely business, right? You're always behind your screen and you're just scrolling Instagram and Facebook and seeing everybody's success stories. And you're like, everything sucks. Nothing's working for me. Okay. What I want to do is I want to pull out of that and share with you, this is what's working. Here's what's working in your market. Are you a health coach, a weight loss coach, a mindset coach, a women's empowerment coach? We know the numbers that need to happen. We know what things need to work, whatever it is. And so we're going to share those with you. We're going to give you some insights into what we're seeing is working. We're going to do this all free. All right. And go from there. And if you're like, yeah, how does it work with Jason's coaching program? Well, we might talk about that, but there's nothing to buy, and we can set up a separate call to talk about that. But that's not even an option right now. The most important thing is we get you on this free call, look at what you're doing, give you the feedback so that you don't have to keep figuring this all out in the dark by yourself. And so that you don't have to end 2025 completely disappointed that something else didn't work for you, because this is not about another tactic. It's about the strategy, because everything has shifted and nothing. And I'll tell you, I've been at this since 2003. And this has been a shift that I haven't seen since probably 2010. Okay. It's a shift in the whole industry, the whole way things have been done. And the good news is, if you get on the front end of this shift, it's likely going to run for another 10, 15 years. For example, when I shifted in 2010, 2012, that model ran from about 2010 to 12 till 2023. Like, what's that, 11 years? I just rode the thing. We did millions in sales over those years. Never really even had to change anything. And I believe we're coming into that same thing, where if you shift properly, it's going to give you another bull market, as they say, so that you can take care of your family, so you can build that coaching business, you can help people, solidify your legacy, and stop having to be a marketer and get on dumb sales calls with people who are broke. Book that 15-minute call and we're going to help you out. Okay? This stuff's working. We're going to explain to you how to do it and give you a bunch of free stuff. And you're going to succeed. 2026 is going to be your best year, because you're going to use a system that actually works. So, all right, take care.